Hey, so it's the end of the day, and I got a call that my car is ready. So we're going to go find it. I think I remember seeing it. Yeah, there it is. Parked all the way over here. Get my steps in. And the owner loves seeing my car because I guess the norm is not for his clients to keep it clean. So here we go. Decontaminated. Wow, I thought that was dirt, but I guess so. Yeah, look at that. It's gouged. That's all plastic under there, so at least it's not going to rust. But nice and clean. Yeah. What he does is he does Iron X, so it gets rid of the rail dust, like those little brown specks, which essentially are just iron deposits from everybody's brake calipers that come off, and then they embed themselves into your paint, and they start to rust because it's iron. Yeah, that's awesome. Now let's take a look at. Yeah, it's salt stain. I'm gonna have to bring that to his attention. That's still really crusty, but he's good because he'll have me back in, and he'll probably give me a complimentary wash too. But you know, for the money, it was a little over $150 odd for all that work, so it's worth it. And then we'll be back here in the fall.
It's doing its job.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I drove the Mitsubishi Mirage a couple years ago, and someone laughed because I gave it an 8 score on power. I'm not saying it was fast. I'm saying it did the job.
Yeah.
And that's literally all I'm looking at. And so people were like, "Oh, but the Mirage is such a crap car." I'm like, it's not a crap car for what it is. I mean, and now it's a little bit expensive, but at the time, it was one of the most affordable cars you could buy in Canada. And for, at that time, it was under 15 grand to get one brand new.
Yeah.
It came with a whole bunch of stuff. Great.
Yeah.
It checked every box for me.
Yeah.
Was it fast? No. Was it exciting? No.
But it was efficient. It was affordable. Space, considering the footprint, was well used. It had what you needed and nothing you didn't.
It was easy to park.
Yeah.
It wasn't, annoying to pass people on the highway, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what more do you want?
Yeah. We have a friend and colleague, Clayton, bought one. Clayton Seams.
Yeah, another automotive journalist.
Bought a Mirage. And that, to me, you always say this, right? That is like the ultimate endorsement of like somebody who does this for a living and sees a vehicle and goes, yeah, this is like the one for me.
Yep.
Well, thanks for tuning in. I just made my afternoon tea, and this has been brewing for a while. I've been trying to understand how I can make a video that isn't just like every other video that I've done. So I did, the first clip you saw, I picked up the car from O-Town Wash, and they did the spring decontamination and wax and all that stuff, and the car looks great. I did go back and they addressed the salt stains, and those are completely spotless now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and drink my tea and compile or answer the questions that I compiled from the 2-year review. And also, actually, before I do that, a bit of sad news. If you're a Mirage enthusiast, you've probably been following the news, and 2024 has been announced as the last year it's going to be available in North America. My 2022, I'm lucky that I got the last manual transmission, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So at the time of this recording, there are dealers that still have stock on 2024s, brand new. So if you're in the market for one, highly recommend you go to and there goes my phone. Should I edit that out? Should I keep it? So I thought I'd take that segue. Actually, I slept overnight and thought, okay, how can I make this video a little bit different? So let's take that segue with the camera falling off my windshield, and I took this, I copied and pasted on my laptop. It was a post that I saw on Mitsubishi's Facebook group. I forget if it was the Worldwide or the Canada group, but this gentleman did in point form something that really resounded with me and makes a lot of sense and summarizes the car perfectly. So I'll just read off here. It says, "Our Mirage is my wife's daily and our winter car. Here's my tip. 1. When you're on the highway, get used to the right lane. It's not a fast car by any stretch of imagination. 2. This thing is really good on gas, all caps, really. It even beat my hybrid." And I believe that because I'm getting some trips I get 4.5, 4.6, 4.7, and that's on a 1 hour round trip, doing about 80 kilometers round trip in mixed driving. 3, I love the fact that I can snuck in and park almost anywhere. And that I can concur with that. The thing literally parks anywhere, and I get in spaces where people with full-size pickup trucks and SUVs are struggling to fit. 4, it's supposed to be really good in winter. We didn't get as much snow last year, so I really can't say much. I can concur it's fantastic in winter. As mentioned before, with good winter tires, even in a foot of snow, this car has no trouble with traction or anything. 5, understand the purpose of this car. It's a point A to point B car with good gas mileage. If you want active cruise control, 360 camera, super silent car, as in tons of insulation, this is not that car. And again, I can concur with that. No, it's not the quietest car in the world, but it's not meant to be. It's meant to be a commuter car to give you great gas mileage and bulletproof reliability and dependability. And finally, number 6, if you are a DIYer, this car is super simple to maintain. No fancy electronics. Having said that, we are very happy with it. I'm going to go one step further and say I tried to do my own oil changes for the last few, and as easy as it is and inexpensive it is to do, one thing that didn't sit well with me is me looking at all the other components that a good mechanic will, to tell you what's wearing out, what's about to wear out, etc., so, such as suspension components and all that other stuff. So I've stopped doing my own oil changes, and every 8,000 or 7,000 kilometers when I go and see my mechanic for an oil and filter, I'm confident that he's going to look at everything else and tell me, okay, this is going to need attention the next time you come in, or this is beyond, this should be attended to right away. That said, almost 96,000 kilometers on it at the time of this recording, and everything's original. Original brakes, original belts, original wipers. I haven't even changed the wipers because I keep my windshield clean and I keep the wipers clean. So back to our regular programming after the phone fell off the windshield. So what was I saying? Dealers have 2024s still on their lots. Grab them while you can if you're in the market for a new one. If you're in the market for a used one, this was not actually asked but on my videos, but it's a frequently asked question that I see everywhere. Is it a reliable car if I buy it used? What should I be looking for? Well, the thing to keep in mind when you're buying any used car, whether it's a Mirage or even a Corolla or anything that's on the most reliable list, or a great used car for a first-time driver, etc., etc. Anytime you buy any used car ever, it's not the car or the badge that you should be looking at. It's the owner, because you're buying the owner. You're buying how the owner took care of that car. If you pull up to the guy's house or the woman's house and it's a dump, odds are pretty good that they take care of their house the way they take care of their car. So the car's probably going to be a state of unrepaired, disrepair. guaranteed you'll have problems with that car because the owner never maintained it, never took care of it. They just drove it. They didn't care about checking the fluids. They didn't care about wheel alignment, replacing stuff when it got worn out. On the other hand, if you pull up to the person's house and the lawn's perfectly manicured and everything's tidy on the inside of the garage, etc., and you can just tell. That's probably going to be a good purchase. However, that said, you should still always get a pre-purchase inspection from an independent mechanic you trust. And I say independent because if you take it to a dealer, let's say you are buying a Mitsubishi Mirage and you take it to a Mitsubishi dealer, not all dealers are guilty of this, but odds are the dealer exists to sell you a car. Even if you're taking it in for an inspection, the mechanic or the service department that works in tandem with the sales department, so the odds of them pointing out things and them trying to steer you into buying a new car is pretty good. Even if your budget's $6,000 or $7,000 for a used Mirage, they're going to probably point you to an RVR. Oh, listen, the Mirage is great, yada, 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 but it's a small car. This is more comfortable. It's got four-wheel drive, etc., etc. RVR, Outback Sport, or Outlander Sport, whatever market you're in. ASX, I think it's what it's called in overseas markets from North America. So keep that in mind when you're getting it inspected. If you don't have a mechanic you trust, talk to your friends. I'm sure in your circle of friends, you've got someone who's a bit of a car nut. Reach out to them and say, hey, listen, where do you take your car to get stuff done? And the odds are pretty good. They're not going to the dealer. They're going to an independent mechanic that is also a car nut. And those are the kind of people that you want to have looking after your car. Every time you get an oil change, those are the people you want underneath the car looking for anything that needs attention. So that's my 2 cents. So, question number 1 from Donk6781. Aren't you scared with everyone passing you doing 20 miles per hour faster than you? Do you stay in the far right lane? Answer, not at all. I've had to pass a number of different times, and this car has no trouble doing that. I follow the posted speed limit 9 times out of 10 and using the passing lanes when needed. Now, one of the reasons I bought this car is I examined my lifestyle. My lifestyle is such that here in Canada's capital, I'm traveling the majority of the time on roads that are 80 kilometers an hour, 90 kilometers an hour, 100 kilometers an hour on the highway, sometimes 110, but never really faster than that. And this car can do that without even thinking about it. So that's what this car was made for. It's a city car. If your lifestyle is such that you're on the highway, and I know some highways in the States are 85 miles per hour, 90 miles per hour, where people are even traveling more than that because, well, people always travel over the speed limit, then this is not the car for you. This is not what this car was designed for. It was designed for a city runabout with a little bit of highway driving to maximize your fuel economy without going to the expense of buying a hybrid. So, next question. Pedro Fernandez 8729 asked, did you test drive the CVT version of this? Just wondering how different they drive. Yes, in fact, that was one of the reasons why I chose this car, is on the occasion where I needed a rental car, and my last Mini Cooper, or the car I had before this was a Mini Cooper convertible, and towards the end of its life, it was always in the shop, so I started thinking about what am I going to replace it with. So anytime it was in the shop for more than a few days, I would rent a car, and on purpose, I would choose either the Mirage or a Chevy Spark, which were on my short list. I found the CVT drove quite nicely, very smooth, and I think the CVT gets more hate than it deserves, because the CVT that the Mirage used, despite the fact that it's a Jatco made by Nissan, is programmed perfectly for the power output of this engine. And when treated properly, in other words, when you're not beating on it day in, day out, they last a very long time. And there's one company in particular that use Mirages as their delivery in their fleet delivery vehicles, and a lot of them have over 500,000 kilometers on it. I'll put a link in the description of the channel that's in my mind. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But he did an engine teardown on one of their fleet vehicles that had over 500,000 kilometers on it, and it was still doing pretty good. And it had that car had the original transmission. So there you go. Jeremy Key Dastane N2V said, I'm gonna chuckle because, as you can see, my heritage is South Asian. My parents are from Pakistan. And this person is clearly from the South Asian region of the world, because he addresses me as uncle, which is a term of respect. And, I guess with all the white hair on my face, it's a dead giveaway. So, uncle, 0 to 100 speed, how much take seconds? He's got a number of different questions, so I'll answer them one by one. I could state what it takes 0 to 60 from the spec sheet. But we all know, anybody who's driven a car knows that that's not a true test of a 0 to 60. Even in perfect conditions, you could beat the stated 0 to 60, and I've done it in this car. If the conditions are poor, your 0 to 60 times are going to be out the window because you won't have the traction of ideal conditions. And the reality is, and I'm going to quote Jeremy Clarkson on this, you never go 0 to 60 in real life. You're going from 40 to 80 kilometers an hour, let's say on an on-ramp, to get up to speed, and even 50 to 80 and beyond to get up to speed to merge into traffic safely. Those numbers, this car does that very, very easily, and I can merge into traffic on highway speeds very easily. Can you drive in high speed or quality, good or bad? Well, high speed is a relative term. 100 kilometers an hour on the highway posted speed limit, no problem at all. Very comfortable. I've taken this on road trips, super, super comfortable, and my back doesn't even hurt at the end of the trip either. In 2024, can you suggest me I'm buy this car or not? 2014 to 2015 model. Yes, as I said in the beginning, I highly recommend buying it used. Even in 2024, again, get a pre-purchase inspection from a mechanic that you trust, that isn't going to try to sell you or upsell you on stuff that you don't need. Make sure the owner who had it before took care of it, and you can tell, even if you're not a mechanic, you can tell if something's been taken care of or not. Okay, now, Jetta 2943 asked, so does it handle winter and snow well? With a good center winter tires, yes, excellent. I've got really, really good winter tires. I put them on every fall. I take them off every spring to put my summers on. I've never been stuck. And in fact, the thumbnail of this video is when I needed to go east of Ottawa to pick something up, and it happened to be during a snowstorm. I don't know why I did this on that particular day, but I was able to get a photo of me in front of a Tim Hortons getting a coffee afterwards. There's a good foot of snow on the ground, and it handled it no problem at all. Now, that said, I've had winter driving lessons. So if you have any concerns about any car, how it's going to behave in the winter, do yourself a favor, beyond winter tires, invest in driving lessons for winter driving. It'll teach you skills that you'll carry throughout your whole life, and it'll make you a better driver to boot. Gotham Dantur Luri wrote, on the scale of 0 to 10, what number would you give it for overall safety? Again, this is completely subjective. What I would give it, knowing how I drive, I'd give it a 10. Because I drive defensively, and I've been driving long enough that I can recognize traffic patterns. Who's going to cut me off? Maybe it's part intuition, maybe it's part of sixth sense. if I'm driving down the road and I see someone driving erratically, I keep my distance from that idiot because I know he's going to do something stupid. So I'd rather give him some space and let him have an accident way up ahead of the road, and then I can keep doing what I'm doing safely. Following distance is another. I don't follow too closely, so I can gauge when I need to brake, when I need to do a lane change, etc., etc. Now, a day 1637 asks, this car will develop a cult following in the future. Many will grow to wish they had purchased one of them, but it will by then be too late, as Gavin Newsom will outlaw anything more powerful than a skateboard. Owners will be able to fetch $80,000 for one of these in 2030. I hope you're right. I don't know who Gavin Newsom is, but I hope you're right. I plan to keep this car for, well, when I bought it, I expected it to last 10 years. I bought it when I was, I bought it in November 2021, and that was 3.5 years ago. So I was 55. So I was in my brain, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep this car for 10 years. I'll be 65 then, and it'll be time for something else. I hope it lasts longer. Then again, if my lifestyle changes and I don't need this car, maybe I wanted something a little different, I'll sell it on and get something that suits my lifestyle at the time. And on that note, I think it's important to understand, before you go out and buy any car, understand your lifestyle. There's no point in buying something to accommodate a situation that might happen 10% of the time. So, for example, I bought this car because I needed something that was a reliable commuter that got me great gas. That was it. Comfort was not at the top of the list. Not to say that this car is not comfortable, but there are more comfortable cars out there than this. I didn't want anything big. I wanted something small that was easy to park, and this ticked all the boxes in that respect. Now, if I get the itch for a convertible, again, which I think I might in the future, depending on how my life goes, I'll probably keep this as a winter car and get a convertible for the summer. Wahib _M asked, I heard you can only go to the dealership to get work done for the warranty to be honored. Any truth to that? Now, to be clear, and the dealer told me this when I bought the car, you can get your work done anywhere you want as long as you keep all the records and receipts for validation that the work was done. However, if you need to file a warranty claim, in other words, if something goes wrong with the car that's covered under warranty, then in order to get that work done under warranty and at no cost to you, you will have to go to a Mitsubishi dealer to do that. And that's no different from any other brand, no matter what brand you're talking about anywhere in the world. So that's it. Those are all the questions that I have, or that I've compiled from the 2-year-old review video. If you have any questions that you want to ask that haven't been covered already, or even if they have, whatever, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will address them when I do the 4-year ownership video. Now, 4-year ownership for me for this car will be in November, but because the weather's so crappy, I don't really get inspired to do it until, well, when the weather's nice now in the spring, and after I've picked the car up from decontamination and the spring cleaning from O-Town Wash. I think probably because when I get into it and after the summer tires been put on, it feels like a new car. It feels like a different car than the way it drives when the winters are on. So there you go. Thanks again for tuning in, and enjoy your Mirage. If you want to buy a Mirage, I think it would be an excellent decision. And have yourself a great day, and we'll see you in a year.
How does this compare to the similar Mitsubishi Mirage sedan?
Well, this is like the AMG version compared to that car.
It really is.
Or the M car.
Oh, man. That one has got a 1.2-liter 3-cylinder engine.
And it's not turbocharged. I don't believe it is.
No, it's not turbocharged. No. As far as no way, because wait till I give you the horsepower number. Are you ready? 78 horsepower.
So this is a rocket ship.
It is less money. It starts at 17,000 Canadian, that Mirage.
I'm going to tell you a quick story
Wow.
about. I was interviewing a guy, and he worked for a company that looked after condo buildings, maintenance.
Yeah.
And he got paid mileage from his company.
Oh, yeah.
So what he did was what's the cheapest, most fuel-efficient car he could buy? So he went and got a Mirage. He says, every time I get a check for my mileage, I laugh.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
wow.
what this would be great for that too.
He's making a lot of money. Yeah, and great fuel economy. This is bigger than the Mirage as well. But if you just want to, cheap and cheerful, sort of, I kind of hate using that cheap and cheerful because it's not, meaning it's inexpensive. It's not like cheap.
No, cheap as in inexpensive.
Yes.
Cheap and cheerful doesn't mean it's
no,
bad.
No, that's
but I think
exactly
this is exactly what this
So
is.
this vehicle brings back a lot of memories for me because I own a Mitsubishi Dodge Colt and I absolutely loved it. I couldn't afford anything else. My grandma, wonderful woman, she said, Andrea, buy a new vehicle.
Okay, I'll do grandma. Ready?
Okay, do it.
Andrea, she's an old German lady.
German.
Andrea, don't buy a used car, buy a new car. And then you went to the Mitsubishi store.
I went to the Mitsubishi. It was actually a Dodge Colt.
Dodge store,
It was actually a Dodge Colt. Anyway, I went in and I bought a new vehicle. I really wanted the Honda Civic because it was so popular. But
Dodge
it was
Colt for you.
It was $3,000 more. I only had so much money at 18. So I bought it. And I really have fond memories of it, and Zach wouldn't get rid of it.
I loved it. It was, and wait, how many horsepower did that have?
We had to look it up because we were like, what does it have?
Because it was so slow.
78 horsepower.
Yeah.
Or was it 68?
No, 68 horsepower.
68 horsepower.
Yeah, 68 horsepower. Yeah, so we
It did the trick. You know what? I worked in radio, and I had to drive from Vancouver to Squamish to the radio station up there, Mountain FM, and I drove on that highway, and it got me there. It got me from A to B.
All right,
It
next
did
question.
what I needed.
We're not going down memory lane too far, Andrea. Very slowly in a Dodge
Very
Colt.
slowly.